Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nanette and I am here to do another YNAB video here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going to go over first quarter spending. I like to do it in the groups view versus the categories view because it's just my preference. I like slicing and dicing it based on the different category groups that I've put together. So, top of mind would be my Someday Over the Rainbow category group, which is all of my investment vehicles for retirement. And that ate up 58% of my spending in the first quarter. It looks like I've spent a lot, but honestly, a lot has just made its way from my gross paycheck off the budget and over into my investment accounts. So for my regular investment account, that was 26% of my spending at $12,000. 401k was just under 12,000 for the standard contribution, and then for the catch-up, it was just over 9,000. Trying to max those out as quickly as possible, and it looks like I'm on track to max them out by the middle of July. I might slow that down now that I know that I am expected to be employed until the middle of October. So I don't have to max it out quite as quickly, but I think it's just going to be easier math, and the company has a practice of going back in and truing up the 4% matching contributions. In my case, it'll be after my employment ends, probably somewhere in the severance calculations. But otherwise they do it in the month of February the following year. Let's see, then we had 8,000 for my traditional IRA, which unfortunately I make too much for that to be a tax deduction, but I just make it a practice to go ahead and contribute to the IRA anyway. My stock purchase plan was 8% at $3,817.90. I get stock at a 15% discount based on the lowest amount in the preceding quarter. And it's just made on the last day of each quarter. HSA contribution was $1,020.85. Go back to all groups. And payroll nonsense is the next up. That took 23% of my pay, essentially. Federal tax withholding was 61% of that total of the 18,000 at 11,322.64. Then Social Security at just over 5,000, Medicare at 1174.85, medical insurance 321, universal life 231, critical illness 203.76. 75.66 for dental insurance, $44.94 for vision insurance, $34.50 for legal, and I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys, but I finally have a will put together. And I have to say that this legal insurance I have found to be very, very beneficial. They are helping me do, the next thing that they're doing is helping me do what's called a ladybird deed, where I'm able to deed the house to myself, basically in trust, with my sons as remainder owners. And what it means is, in the event I pass, my children will immediately become the owners of the house and can execute transactions on this property. So it's a way of keeping it completely out of probate. So since I have them as the beneficiaries on all of my accounts, there should be no need for them to go through probate. So hopefully I have done my best. Well, I know I've already done my best. Hopefully that will simplify things when I pass. Feels very adult to be very prepared for such things. All right, next thing I'm going to do is to come in here and take out those two category groups, because it just obscures things for all of that data to be sitting on the chart. So next up we will see My next biggest expenditure at 25% of the rest of what was spent in the quarter is do good in the world. And probably this is primarily because, well, let's see what's in here. So I did from the bottom to top. Papa Payback was $786.21. That covered his. There's a contribution that I put into his account every month, as well as covering his phone bill. Share the Wealth, $971.49. I will tell you that about half of that was covering the fee for my sister. She had to put her cat down, and there's a service where you probably already know this, but there's people who will come and basically do a hospice situation for the cat. And those wonderful people came and took care of my sister. It was a very loving experience for her. And because that cat was her soulmate, it's just something that I wanted to do. She's a retired school teacher and really didn't need to be spending all the money that she had to spend on the cat in that final health issue that happened at the end of her life. But it's nice to be able to help people out with stuff like that. I also use the Share the Wealth category to take friends out in an effort to build more community around me and just help people in general. I'm trying to spend down the rest of that balance by the end of the year. I think it's sitting around, well, it was sitting at around 800, and I ended up putting a little bit more money into it. But nevertheless, let's keep going through spending. Last but not least, no shock here to me that my son's funds, almost $1,900 went out in that direction. But I looked back over the course of things, and we're actually on track to not exceed the yearly goal that we had out there for that. So needs must. Next up is Play Harder, and in the Play Harder group, I am slightly chagrined that over $1,300 was spent on dining out. $1,000 went towards fun and adventures, primarily, well, all of that money was for a certification course that I am in the middle of, doing something that I love, and I'll probably speak about that sometime in second quarter. Yeah, by the end of second quarter, I will probably speak to that, but not yet. Fitness, $540, that's going to cover the $80 studio fee for the acro studio that I belong to, as well as personal training sessions and general fun, and then only $5.36 on garden supplies. We'll take care of that in second quarter. There will be more expenditures in that arena. Life will out, $1,500, little over $1,500, almost $1,600 on groceries, $438 on personal care, which is haircuts and massages primarily. Sundries, $232.54. Gas, a whopping $126.06. Love driving my hybrid and love working from home so that I have just very little in gas expenses. Supplements were a mere $63.84. I don't think that my expenditures are really all that exciting. Next up is I've got the power. This is my water and electric bill, $894.30. It will be probably significantly higher in both second and third quarter because of the wonderful heat in Florida. That will crank up at least by mid-May. Mow and blow lawn work was a whopping $525. I am so grateful for that gentleman's service. He does such a good job, and just as pleasant as can be. Car insurance, $422.77. Where were we? Was that the Life Will Out? That was the Work Hard. So moving on to sinking funds. Health insurance deductibles, we spent $1,044.18. Home maintenance was $476.03. I'm curious to remind myself what that was. Oh, I'm glad I jumped in here. So 250 was for a community gardening group that I belong to. Very money well spent. $160.56 for a pair of wreaths for my front door that are absolutely beautiful. I should insert a picture in here, but I'm not good at that and I'm not good at editing. So you'll just have to imagine how beautiful it would be to have eucalyptus branches and lavender in a wreath. Really, really beautiful, and it smells just as wonderful as you might imagine it would. The gal who cleans my house fawns over it every time she comes to the house, so I have to remember to order one of those for her. Out of the Share the Wealth category group, I think that would be just fine. And then I don't know why I jumped in there to D&D gas. That was just gas expenses. So where have I gotten myself to? Go back into the groups. We were going through sinking funds, so next up would be help is here when you need it. Primary helping hands would have been, it's a mix, but mostly the gal who comes to clean my house every other week, and a little bit of another friend who comes over and just helps with projects where I need more than my own two hands or the strength of my own back. And I really appreciate his help as well. And then I did the monthly garden service this year only in the month of January. As soon as I learned that I would be laid off, I decided to put that on pause, at least or until I'm very confident about my ability to, my how important that service is to me once I retire and whether or not I'll be able to pay for it. So I'd like to be able to make a few more sacrifices than just the monthly garden service, but it's a start. All right, next up, we have business ops, nice boring stuff here. The professional fees was an expense I wish I did not incur. I purchased a retirement planning software that I've been very unhappy with. The learning curve, I consider myself a pretty smart person, but the learning curve on this and the way that it behaves is not at all what I saw on the YouTube videos that convinced me to give this a try. So I really need to reach out to them and see if I can't get a refund on this and forego that. But I'm gonna just full transparency, I'm not sure that I have that battle in me, and we'll just have to see what happens with that. Cell phone, $165.74, internet for $143. I think that's pretty darn good. I get my internet through AT&T and I do have a really good rate on it. I think this was for the entire quarter, and I think some people pay almost that much for 1 month. So, and it works perfectly fine. I'm able to stream everything I want, and I work from home remotely and don't have any big issues. Probably the most challenging thing I have is it takes a long time to upload videos because I talk too much. But let's keep going. Cell phone plan, this is my son's cell phone. This I have to look into why there's anything here because he covers this, so I probably have some bad accounting entries in here to fix because he has covered all of his cell phone bills. As a matter of fact, he's 1 month ahead right now, so I won't have to use any of my money in the month of May to cover his phone bill. Insurance on the phone was $26.97. Office supplies $21.77, and iCloud storage for $8.97. Moving right along, that was business ops. So next up would be subscriptions. Nothing terribly exciting here. I have eliminated the Whole Foods. Only did that the first 2 months of the year. The New York Times audio was a 1 month. I think I did a 1 month free trial and then paid for an extra month to finish streaming something that I was interested in. Music streaming is all Spotify, and I share that with my son. Netflix, I don't know that I am getting $80 worth per quarter of, Netflix, but I share it with other people. The same thing with the Hulu. YouTube Premium, I'm very happy to spend what I'm spending on YouTube Premium, but Hulu and Netflix, I wish I was one of those people who could rotate through them, and everybody sharing the service was happy to just do Hulu or whatever, but that also is just a little bit beyond me right now. So hence, a little bit more money gets spent in that direction. That was subscriptions, so looks like all we have left is the cat, and she was a mere $133.04, primarily for food and probably cat litter. But yeah, that's quite the value, isn't it? All right, that is it for the spending breakdown. I did have a few updates on the budget that I wanted to share with you. Let's see if just changes that I've made. Full transparency again, I made some mistakes when I was doing my April budget, so I've made some adjustments in here. Nothing that's all that important to call out to you, but there's a few things I wanted to point out. I have altered my filters. The first 4 filters here beyond the all button are directly related to the YNAB questions for reality, stability, resilience, and creation. For flexibility, I'll just be using the all filter because it would be a review across the board of everything. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let me go back into reflections. I wanted to point out that at $14,562.51, this is less than $15,000, which is a pretty good indication that in this last quarter, I did spend less than $5,000 a month. And that included January, where I wasn't really even trying to do that. So I am feeling pretty good about $5,000 as a fixed income being a really good target to aim for. So in some ways, the $5,000 experiment continues. In some ways, it's changing. I actually think I finally found a way to simplify it for myself. Let's see. What I wanted to show you next is I have cleared out the income replacement fund, and what I've done, you can see over here on the lower right, I have allocated that money into the future months. So the next 6 months already have $5,000 sitting in the please hold category group, and that's those monies will be used to fund those months as we move ahead. You'll also see that my car replacement category group is down from a high of $20,000 to what is now a low of $5,000, and tomorrow I'll clean out the last $5,000 of it. Have I bought a new car? Absolutely not. I have, however, over the course of the last 3 weeks, with the 4th contribution being made tomorrow, I have been transferring money off of the budget and into my brokerage account. So I absolutely do not ever plan to time the market, but I have been considering for a very long time getting that money off of out of my high yield savings account and into a brokerage account where I hope that it will make more money for me. I know with the uncertainty of the market, there's no way to know how soon the market will recover and start generating the kind of yields that I would like to see in order to fund my retirement. But I absolutely believe that it's the right thing to do to continue investing. So I'm certainly not slowing down my 401k or any other, or my contributions into my brokerage account. I am prioritizing regular expenses, and I also want to prioritize continuing to build out my emergency fund or my income replacement. So to that end, I will be, my first priority when using my paychecks, which will be to continue filling the income or funding November, December, etc. For the remainder of my working career. Since my net income off of my paychecks right now is just a little bit above $5,000 a month, I will put the first $2,500 of every one of my paychecks into the most future forward months. So in April's paychecks will be used to fund November. May's paychecks will be used to fund December, and so on. So that is happening. What was next? my share the wealth category. While I was bolstering my sinking funds, I had put a pause on funding the Share the Wealth category group, but after making the adjustments that I needed to make in the April budget, I still had $170.08 left that I decided to go ahead and put into the Share the Wealth category. Previously, most of that money had come from 2024 savings that weren't spent in 2024. So I do want to basically spend this down to zero by the end of the year, but when I do have extra money now, once I have answered all of the other questions, part of my creation goals would be to continue encouraging myself to be more and more generous and help other people, especially when they need it. I'd like to I already have the $5,000 set aside for taxable, well, just donations in general that I can get matching funds for with my business, with the company that I work for. But the Share the Wealth category group is a little bit different than that. It's more about building community, and I may also, well, there's just different ways that I want to use that money to be both generous for people who need it and generous also to myself in building community around me. Let's see, next up would be the clinic costs. I upped that from $300 a month to $600 a month, due in part because I need to do a $400 allergy test on my cat because she has allergies, and I want to figure out, I've been trying to manage them through her food, and that is not 100% successful, so I want to figure out how I can better manage her outbreaks. I think I already mentioned this, but my oldest son has paid a month ahead. What a wonderful practice, isn't it? On the cell phone bill, so I won't have to be budgeting that out and then having him pay me back. And in the work hard category, I'm not on balance billing for my utilities, but I did go out to their website, and if I got onto balance billing, it would be $319 a month. So I decided to do balance billing on my own. So now I'm tucking away a little bit more money every month in preparation for the heat coming up, where my AC costs will go out the roof. And last but not least, I think I've already done a nod to the 5K experiment, where I'm pretty comfortable with that being the fixed income that I target that I'm going for. As you can see, I've already got the income replacement categories budgeted out in the future, and I've already talked about the fact that my net income will just barely cover those. Not just barely, there'll be a little bit more than that, especially after July. I will have maxed out the 401k contribution, so a lot more will come in. Anything over, well, from now through the end of July, anything over and above $5,000 is free to be used anywhere in the budget for any of YNAB's 4 questions. No holds bar, I can do whatever I want with it. Spoiler alert, there's just a few extra $100 in tomorrow's paycheck. So that will likely be my next video. I don't think there is much more to say, so I think I will, well, here's another thing to say. If you like this kind of content, you can put up with me being my awkward self, please do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I would love to see you back here in another video. And soon, I will remember to say that at the beginning of the video before everybody drops out and gets distracted. But long story short, I am at the end of this video. I don't think that was short at all. But I appreciate you watching. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I really appreciate you stopping by. Bye now.